And that now takes us to item 2.3, which is approval of the minutes of July 3rd, August 6th, August 20th, September 3rd, and September 17th of 2013. And so this is pulled by Mary Fitch. So Ms. Fitch, please step forward, and the floor is yours.
Hi again. So I want to talk about the integrity of the public record, and I submitted separate speaker cards for 4 different sets of the minutes, and so I would ask your indulgence in allowing me to finish all of my comments without interruption. I'll just move from one to the next. There's been a lot of discussion lately surrounding what does or does not belong in the minutes. It's been said that what isn't in the minutes can be found by watching the video. But if the minutes don't accurately reflect the subject matter, how can a member of the public know whether or not they would care to spend their time watching the video? This is particularly true of business from the floor. The chambers have generally all but emptied by the time it's heard, and if the minutes fail to reflect the true nature of the comments, then the clerk is doing the citizens a disservice. In the past, the clerk has done a fair job of documenting the gist of the speaker's comments. For example, in the July 2nd minutes, there is a clear description of what each of the speakers was attempting to address. However, beginning with the minutes of August 6th, perhaps only coincidentally the first meeting at which my colleagues and I addressed the council, there seems to have been an abrupt change in the clerk's minute-taking attitude. During the meeting of August 6th, I addressed the council regarding a specific verifiable lie that the city manager told Council Member Ritter in response to a direct question during the meeting of March 5th. Because he did it at the meeting, it was also a lie he told to the citizens. He did not misspeak. He was not unclear. He simply wanted Councilmember Ritter to stop asking him for something he did not want to present to the council. So he lied to her and told her it didn't exist. So what do the minutes reflect? They say, Mary Fitch addressed the council regarding her concerns over the March 15th, 2013 council meeting. How enlightening. That isn't what I addressed. So we skip to the meeting of August 20th. And during business from the floor, I gave a specific and verifiable example of a blatant lie that the city manager told to staff during a question and answer session in a February staff meeting. He did not misspeak. He was not unclear. He said one thing, and 30 minutes later, he did something entirely different. Incidentally, the community development director was standing less than 3 feet behind me when the lie was told, and he knew it was a lie and said nothing. So what do the minutes reflect? Mary Fitch stated she was speaking on behalf of both present and former staff members regarding the actions of the new city manager. Again, most enlightening, but not anything like what I said. Skip to the meeting of September 3rd. I addressed the council regarding a specific, verifiable lie that the city manager told to an Enterprise Record reporter for a March 17th article, in which he said staff had received 30 days written notice of cancellation of flex schedules and that he had heard no complaints from staff. 4 days earlier, in fact, he had clarified to his department heads that the flex schedule change had not been implemented. Notice to the employees did not go out until almost a month after the article was published. He did not have the timing wrong. He did not misspeak. He was not unclear. He specifically lied to the reporter about the facts. So what do the minutes reflect? Mary Fitch expressed concern over how the city manager had handled elimination of the flex schedule for city employees. That's not what I was addressing. I was addressing what the city manager said to the reporter.
Ms. Fitch, I'd ask you to wrap up if allowed you to go over the limit of 3 minutes, and this is a single agenda item listed as item 2.3.
Are you really going to do that? I told you at the beginning that I had 4 separate speaker cards, and I would have switched over to my final and most important point.
Then can you do that? I will allow you to switch over to your final, and I'm asking you to wrap, so if you would switch to your final and most important point, could we wrap with that?
Will do.
Okay, thank you.
But what really takes the cake are the minutes for September 17th. You had to know I'd be speaking to you about this, so I'm astonished to see what's in the draft minutes. First of all, the minutes of March 5 meeting were on the agenda for approval on September 17th. I spoke to you about those minutes, and I told you about the 5-page supplemental memo that the city manager presented that was the only document in existence that supported the increase in the assistant city manager's salary to by $30,000. I said that it contained numerous false statements, that it was not available on the web, and that it was not called out in the minutes. I respectfully requested that that memo be transcribed into those minutes, and that if not, that my comments at the September 17th meeting be transcribed verbatim for the record. After I had left the podium and could no longer respond, the mayor acted as though he had no idea what I was concerned about, said he hadn't really heard any questions from me, and invited the clerk to comment. Rather than politely saying that the minutes could be moved to the next agenda once she had a chance to review the video, she instead made a fervent denial of what you all know now to be true and correct. Among other things, she insisted that the memo was a private email from the city manager to the council, which he confirmed. She stated that she did not have a copy of it during the meeting, and she ended by saying emphatically, "Actually, I would have to say that I would not read this into the record nor type it into the record because it did not happen at the council meeting. I truly believe in the integrity of the minutes. I take it very seriously, and I would never, ever put anything in the minutes that didn't occur at the meeting." Without further discussion, the council adopted the minutes as submitted. So that's what's on the September 17th video. As you know...
So, Ms. Fisher, I'm going to ask you to wrap. I've afforded you additional time. You said you had a concluding comment. It does not seem as if we're concluding.
We're concluding with September 17th. I don't understand. What I don't understand here is that I put separate speaker cards in because I have specific issues with the record. And I think you know what's coming next on this September 17th meeting and what the minutes don't reflect in the business from the floor. And so, first of all, what I would like to do is, again, respectfully request, which I have already done before, that the March 5 minutes be corrected and brought back to the council, that the September 17th minutes be corrected to show that what the city clerk put on the video is not the truth, because right now the minutes and the video tell the public a lie. It's not the truth.
Yeah,
And I would also like...
So you've provided your input on the approval of the minutes that are before us this evening. Subsequent to an issue that you had raised earlier, the city clerk did address that matter. The official record includes the expandable folder that's held for the meeting, which includes the document that you have referred to. And we spoke to that at a subsequent meeting.
Well, we didn't really. You offered to hand me a copy of the memo at the end of business from the floor, but the record isn't corrected anywhere.
So the official record is the file that includes everything that was also received and or presented at that meeting. And we've had that discussion here.
How would anybody know what happened at September 17th when the video ends with the clerk saying it didn't happen and the minutes just saying Mary Fitch expressed concern? Nobody will know what happened, and that's the whole point of the minutes, is so people will know what happened at the meeting. So I respectfully request that the minutes be changed to correct what was said during business from the floor, as well as during the minutes. And I would also respectfully request an apology from the clerk for her fervent denial of what was the obvious fact. It's her job to know what goes on during those meetings. And if I come up here, it's because I have looked at the video and I know what I'm talking about. She could have just politely said, let's take a look and bring it back to the next meeting. So with that, I would respectfully ask for an apology and a correction of the minutes.
So noted. Thank you.
Ms. Fitch, I realize that you're asking for a lot of things to be added to the minutes, but perhaps as a compromise under the business from the floor for September 17th, if we made an addition to your comments that you had asked for the March 5th minutes to be amended, at least it would be in the minutes that there was an additional request by you, that if someone was curious about that, they could go back to this particular meeting to look at it in more detail.
Do you mean to adjust what is said under
Business
the
from the floor.
It was in the minutes that this happened. It was during consent, and I pulled the minutes to talk about it. So the only time that we
Okay.
talked about that during business from the floor was another meeting, and all the mayor said was, "Oh, I have a copy of this memo for you," but I'm sure that won't make it into the October 1st minutes either. So,
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
may I have an apology, please?
That's for the city clerk to determine, certainly not for the city council to order her to do so. And what's on the agenda are the minutes. So with that then, what's council's direction?
Which are normally supposed to be action-only minutes, and council doesn't take action on business from the floor. And particularly when we had an outcry for minutes to be posted, I think the goal was to get them action-only and get them done and get them up. So with that, I'll move approval of the minutes. I'll move approval of item 2.3.
Second.
Councilmember Vice Mayor Sorensen, would you be amenable to a friendly amendment to just add a line to item 2.3 of the September 17th minutes saying that Mary Fitch asked for a correction of the March 5th minutes?
Sure.
Thank you.
However,
Oh.
this is just getting a little ridiculous that we're going to tinker with the minutes. And I appreciate I'll just go with aggravation, frustration, that some of the minutes are more detailed, some are more verbatim, although the ones that have been verbatim in some cases have been verbatim because they were legally required to do so, things like general plan amendments, those kinds of things. And I've darn sure appreciated the fact that many discussions about budget in the last couple of years were verbatim, but beyond that, I don't think it's productive for the council to get into tinkering with, particularly post-mortem, what was included in a meeting months ago. I'll accept your amendment, but reluctantly.
Thank you.
So it's up to Mr. Stone.
I agree with everything that you just said. Because you accepted it, I'll go along with it.
Great, so we have a motion and a discussion, or excuse me, a motion and a second with a friendly amendment. Any further discussion? So, I would just add that, so I appreciate Ms. Fitch made the clarification that we do not take action from business from the floor, and that she was specifically addressing a consent item in the minutes to reflect the action that was taken. So, and that's unfortunately where we're at, but yeah, I guess we are darned if we do and darned if we don't. So with that, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Great, so that passes 6-0-1.
Well, I'm glad we got through the consent agenda.
Yeah, it's like almost break time here.